it's fall week. So for fall week, I wanted to try a window scene. I don't know if this is going to work. This is what I wanted to do. So what I've done is I've taped down my little note card paper, and then I put two extra little pieces to be the window panes. And so what I was kind of thinking is that we would do like trees and then water. So I'm going to put in a horizon line. I'm just going to draw right over the tape because that just makes life a lot easier. And so we're going to do sky and then some bright trees, and then the reflections in the water, and then peel these off, see what the window looks like, see if we need to touch it up. Watercolor is always fun to experiment with, so you should always experiment and have fun and just kind of see what it'll do for you. We're going to use the palette again. I know I've just been doing this a lot, but it's been a lot easier than anything else. I just use the palette. Everything's there, everything I need. I have all the colors that I want. So that's what we're going to do. We're just going to do this. I'm going to clean out some. I did not clean my brushes from the last time. They've been sitting in water. Don't do that. It's the quickest way to ruin your brushes. But yeah, so, oh well, these things happen. We're gonna do sky first and kind of let that dry a little bit, and then add in the trees and kind of a line in here. We're just gonna see. So in my Komorebi, I really still don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, there is a turquoise color. So I'm going to grab that and just start laying in some sky here. Okay, that's really dark. So we're going to hit the brush with some water. There we go. And kind of pull this down. And I'm going to keep going because I want the trees to go over top of this. So I want there to be a little bit of color that comes out from behind the trees. So we're going to take this all the way down to that horizon line. And just keep adding water. I'm not getting any more paint. So I really do want this to fade out, and I don't want this to be super wet so that I can do the trees. And what I may end up doing is the reflections first and then do the trees, because if it's wet, then the paint will just bleed out and kind of make it look a little fuzzy, and we can work with it. All right, so the sky was done in turquoise. Let's do the water in azurite blue. So again, we're just gonna get a little bit and just hit the very edge. Take it across. And then get water, tap on your paper towel, and then just kind of start working this back up to that line. More water, tap it on your towel. And take it straight up to your horizon line. Okay, so it's fall. We want bright fall colors. So we're gonna go with, I'm gonna get a smaller brush. So I was using a round 10 for that part. So let's switch to my 6. This is a 6. I don't know if it's clean. We'll check that too. I'm not super fiddly about the water either, but we're gonna just make like big oak trees is kind of what I'm thinking. So I'm gonna grab some orange. Yeah, we'll stick with orange. And we're gonna just kind of dot that on. You see how the water is just spreading it out? That's perfect. So there's an orange tree. Let's get some red. And we'll go right next to it, and we're gonna do the shape of a little red tree. And we're just letting the water on the paper spread all this out. I'm cleaning the brush in between. I'm gonna get some yellow ochre, and we'll do just a little yellow tree right here. You want your trees to kind of vary in shape. So this one's a big fat one, that one's a skinny one. This is just gonna be a little round one. Let's get some red ochre. I'm just using any color that screams fall to me and letting the paper do the work. So I'm gonna make this one kind of like back and forth a little, giving it a little shape. This one's gonna be a really big tree. And then we will go to some burnt sienna. And this tree is going to be a little bit darker in the brown, and it's going to come up, it's going to overlap that one. And then it's going to pop out a little bit over on this other side. And I'm just tapping the brush. I'm letting the water really do all the work. And let's finish this off with another red one. And remember, this is our reflection, so it's okay that it's kind of smearing a little. I want the water to not look perfect. Okay, and so this one isn't going to smear much at all because it has already dried. So we're going to pop it over like this, and it's just going to be a short little tree. Okay, so there we have our reflection. Let's see if we are dry enough. Okay, we are dry enough to do the trees in the sky, the real trees, and then we'll put in this trunks after we're done. I'm gonna put a little water on this guy because I want him to bloom out a little. He's looking a little too dark for me. And we can add everything else too. We're just basically playing with wet on wet techniques and just seeing what happens. So we started with red, and it's not going to be a perfect mirror image. We're going to get like the basic shape of this tree, but this time we're going to leave little openings for the light to come through. And then we're going to get the red. We're going to do the same thing. We're just tapping this brush on here in a vaguely tree-esque shape. Okay, and then we used yellow ochre. I have to remember what colors I used. So this one was yellow ochre, and it was a shorter tree. So we're going to start it down in here. And it's blending a little bit with the green in the background, or the blue in the background. It's totally cool. It's kind of fun. The next color we used was the red ochre, and that one went a little higher. Remember, these are just quick little paintings. They're fun to do, and they're fun to practice. Okay, and then we did the burnt sienna. And this one was a big tree that went both sides. So we have to have a little bit on this side. Let me get a little bit more of the burnt sienna because it is fading a little bit. That's because I'm using brown. I hit the wrong color. Wondered why that didn't look right. Got to be careful when your colors are right next to each other. There we go. That's the right color. It's a bit too much in my paintbrush, but that's okay. We want to smear them over a little bit because they blend together in the reflection. Okay, and then we want to go back to the orange to finish this last little tree. And he has a pop-up like this. Then he goes out to the side like that. And we're just dabbing the brush to really get leaf shapes, etc. Okay. So that part's done. Now we need trunks. We need a division of the water to the reflection. So we need to put in kind of a little bit of a, more like a bushy area that's gonna give us a line of demarcation. Maybe that's the term I want to use. So I'm gonna grab olive green. And we're just gonna put this up. This is the grass line. Some spots the grass is going to be a little bigger, sometimes it's going to be a little smaller. Sometimes it's going to be a little darker. Okay. There you go with that. So let's get a black pen. This is just a big pen. Or it's just a black gel pen. And we're going to draw in some little trunks and then mimic them down here. This little guy, I want his trunk to be kind of over on the edge, and then only a little bit of it's going to show over there. I feel like this one needs a thicker one. It doesn't have to be fully filled in. They can just be little lines. We'll go back in and add branches too in just a second, but let's get the basis of what we're doing here. All right, your trunk is gonna show all the way up in there. And since that's wet and this is a gel pen, it actually bleeds it out a little bit for me, which I like. And then we wanna mimic the same thing down here. Like I said, these are just little note cards. So this guy, you're only going to see side of his trunk because most of it's going to be hidden by the window. And for you, we're going to have a little bit of a twisty trunk. There we go. Just kind of mimic it. And when the water's wet or the paint's wet, the ink just goes into it, which is fine. And you could do this with dark paint or anything else, but I kind of just like to use a pen. I have more control. This is just a quick little note card. You can put like happy fall or happy Thanksgiving or something like that. So then we need to have the impression of branches up through the tree. Don't go too crazy with this. This is just where they're popping out. Okay, that was too wet. I gotta go dry my pen off on a piece of paper. Okay, so that's it with the trees. We're gonna let this dry for a little bit. Then we're gonna hit some reflection lines with our white gel pen. So mainly I have to just wait for this to dry right here, and I may be impatient and I might hit it with a paper towel. I don't know. So I'm gonna just really lightly sketch in some little lines so we can see that that's water. Okay, I know those are really hard to see, but when you're looking at it, they will really pop and you'll like them. Again, you can use a bleed-proof white, you can use a gouache. We just want it to look like there's water lines. If you did the shark painting with me, I did this then too. And I'm gonna get the smallest brush I have today, which, that's not it. This is it, a 00. I have a little 00 brush. I'm gonna dip it in water and I'm gonna get some, I think we're gonna do gray. We're gonna do some gray and we're just gonna outline the shore a little. And it doesn't have to be exactly where that horizon line was because I lost the horizon line. Okay, that one's too small. We are gonna go with a 2, as I am tired of making little teeny tiny lines that I can't see. So you wanna go just into that a little. It just gives you back your horizon line. It doesn't have to be straight. It can vary a little bit. But it kind of shows us where the shore is to make it look like a window. More water. Okay, and while I have, add some shadows into these trees just a little bit. So I'm still just using the gray. Putting little dark spots. Nothing too crazy, but it just adds a little bit. Or at least I think it adds a little bit. If you don't like this part, don't do it. And I may have to come back into that section because it is just way wet. All right, I'm gonna get a clean paper towel and we're just gonna soak up some of this extra water, being very careful not to touch it. And I'm gonna do that with this section right here. This is way too wet. There, and that adds some dimension as well. So you can always go in with a paper towel to add in your dimension and everything else. So I feel like this shadow and this one have faded just a little bit more than I want. So I'm gonna get a little bit more of those colors. You just gotta remember what colors you used. This one was the red ochre. So we're just gonna go back in and just kind of do some red ochre. Clean your brush and get a little bit more of the yellow ochre because we lost that tree a little bit. And over here where we had way too much water and orange, we lost that was a brown tree. So get the burnt sienna again and just touch that up a little bit. Okay, let's pull off the tape, see how this looks, see if we need to add anything to the window panes. You gotta be careful and slow with this kind of tape. This paper particularly because it really likes to tear your paper. I don't know why. It doesn't bother me too much. I feel like it gives it a neat little texture. You always want to pull at a 45-degree angle, go slow. We're tearing the paint off completely there. I'm using my finger. I'm going back and forth. Well, you can see where it tore, and it tore quite a bit, but that's okay. It still reads window frame to me, so I'm okay with that. Let's see if we can get this one off. I think I put that one over top, so. You also could do the same thing, but do this in 3 panels, and you could have, or 4 panels and have like fall, winter, spring, summer. You could do anything you want with this. This was just a little idea I had to make it look like looking out a window into a fall scene. Not sure how super successful it was, but it was just a quick experimentation. And take these experiments and use them and turn them into bigger paintings, more exciting, more variety paintings. I'm going to come in and add the white pen again now that I've removed the tape. I think that really adds to it. And then you get a note card, which I didn't prep for today. And you'll glue this down onto your little note card. And it's actually really cute for fall, like a little fall letter. Go ahead and sign it. But there you have it. I hope you enjoyed your little fall mini painting today. The full tutorial you're watching, so I don't know what I'm babbling about. Next week we go back to crochet. We're going to be doing some more of my mini monsters, and then in 2 weeks we will start doing spooky scenes for Halloween. I'm thinking ghosts, I'm thinking scary houses, I'm thinking bats. So we'll see what we come up with in 2 weeks, but I hope you've enjoyed the first week of fall and your fall painting. Bye.